Meal planning is super important for us, for my family, to stay on plan, especially when you're doing low carb, high fat. When you're first starting out, it's really difficult because you're cooking differently. And I think it's the learning how to cook differently that makes you successful or not when you're starting a new way of eating. It's a lifestyle change. Okay, so did a meal plan for last week, and this is our meal plan for the upcoming week. I'm going to do some what I call twofer meals, and so I'm starting with a pork shoulder. This was on sale. Remember, I scour the sales to see what's out there. I think about my family schedule, whether I'm going to be home, my husband has a meeting, or the kids have activities. Next week is a busy week. There are 2 meetings in the evenings, or at least 2, for our family. And so I need things that I can cook once and then make another meal quickly out of. So that's what I'm going to do with this pork shoulder butt. What I'll do is I'll cut it into smaller pieces. I'll probably get 6, 7, 8 pieces out of this. I'll put it in my crock pot, put the fattiest side up so that the fat drains into the meat and gets super, super tender. It's a wonderful recipe. In fact, I'll try to videotape that for you, but I'm going to make pork carnitas with it. But you put it in the crock pot and use a little bit of fresh orange juice and different flavorings, and then you sear the meat in your cast iron skillet to get the wonderful juicy brown bits. So I'm going to do this pork butt, and for our family, it should be enough for 2 meals. This whole thing is, I'm trying to see the pounds, 8 pounds. The whole thing's 8 pounds with a small bone in, but it should be plenty. So with half of that, I'll do the carnitas, and I'll season them in the cast iron skillet right before we eat. I'll serve it with some cheese, some sour cream, some salsa. This is fairly low carb. Some fresh avocado or make guacamole. I've got some cilantro to add to that, and probably onion and bell pepper, and I forgot to pull an onion out of the cabinet. With the rest of it, I'll do onion and bell pepper and saute it and make fajitas. And with the fajitas, I'll add chorizo. Chorizo is a Mexican sausage. If you haven't tried it, it's wonderful. You can find it in most grocery stores and some Mexican markets. Just read the label, as always. Read the ingredients. Some brands have sugar. This one does not. There's actually 4 carbs in this entire package, and this is a Supremo brand. Anyway, I'll use that with the leftovers to do fajitas. It'll be a similar meal. So if I do this carnitas on Monday night, I'll do the fajitas on either Wednesday or Thursday later in the week, so that they don't think they're getting served the same thing, even though it is similar. So that's 2 nights worth of meals right there. Then I have ground beef. The 80-20 ground beef was on sale this week. So I bought 3.5 pounds. Actually, it was about 3 3/4 pounds. That's a lot of ground beef. I bought it to make a couple different things. I'll make a few burgers, as I always do, for lunches. I love taking those to work. I just warm them up with cheese and bacon, have a little mayonnaise, mustard maybe on the side, and it's very filling, fantastic lunch. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the zucchini and I'll use my spiralizer to make zoodles. So I'll spiralize that. It cooks up very quickly in just a little bit of butter or ghee or coconut oil, whatever your favorite fat is. You could even use bacon fat. You know, I love to use that. But I'll spiralize these, and I have a spiralizer, baguette, however you say it, and you just twist it and it comes out with little zoodles. So I'll use a good pound or more of the ground beef with this sauce to make spaghetti. This is Rao's homemade sauce. I found it on clearance for $5.59. I was really pleased to find it. It's 3 grams of carbs, 3 total carbs per half cup, which is really pretty good, and there's no added sugar. I know this brand's available at Target and usually at Walmart, and Walmart is where I found it on clearance actually. When I use my pound of ground beef, I'll also add a pound of sausage. This was on sale. I got it for like 40 cents. I was really pleased to have it. I've had it in the freezer, but I've pulled it out for this. So I'll combine sausage, about a pound, and a pound of this. Now, if this is thick and I need to thin it, I can do another jar. I can do 2 jars, or I can add a little bone broth to thin it out. It gives it a really, really nice flavor. So that's a 3rd meal. The 4th meal I'm going to make is, again, at my family's request, I'm going to make crack slaw. And I have a video on how to make crack slaw. If you haven't made it, it is absolutely fantastic. I'll use, again, about a pound or so of the ground beef with the cabbage. I have a video on how to make it, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but I do have that on the menu for the upcoming week. I also, if I decided not to do crack slaw, I could use some of the ground beef combine it with feta crumbles. These were on sale. I could combine it with this and some spinach to make spinach meatballs, and the family really loves that. Feta, spinach, ground beef, or ground lamb. I really prefer that, but it can be very pricey. Fresh mint, and it's a wonderful recipe. We'll have to make that together sometime. But anyway, I do have that in case I change my mind or need something different and do the meatballs. Chuck eye steaks, that was on my menu last week too. I can't tell you how much we love these. I found them for a great price. The chuck eye, now if you make sure you get the chuck eye, it's as tender as a ribeye, but it's usually around $6 or $7 a pound. So I was pleased to find 3 of those. They're quite large, should be enough for my family. And I can serve with that a fresh salad. I can do also a roasted cauliflower, cauli rice, any number of things with the cauliflower, but we haven't had roasted cauliflower in a while, so I probably will roast that to go with the steaks and a fresh salad. I also picked up some things that you wouldn't think about necessarily for dinner, but remember I said it's going to be a really busy week for us. Kids may be on their own with dinner a couple of nights, or with a sitter a couple of nights, or with dad a couple of nights, which is all kind of the same thing sometimes. But I got bologna. My daughter loves beef bologna. Now, we don't eat it all the time. I maybe buy it for her 4 or 5 times a year. It was on sale. It's 1 carb per slice, and she will eat bologna with mayonnaise and mustard. She'll eat it with pimento cheese. Pimento cheese is another staple that I keep. Or she might have hot dogs with pimento cheese, and my son certainly will eat a hot dog. So I keep those on stock. I also can take hot dog, warm that, wrap it in bacon, and have some pimento cheese with it, and it's really, really tasty. So that's what's on our menu for this week. What are you having for dinner?